Welcome to the Sunday worship service of the First Church in Boston, a Unitarian Universalist congregation in the Back Bay. The senior minister at First Church is the Reverend Dr. Stephanie May. Her sermon is entitled Left-Handed Scissors. The music director is Gigi Mitchell-Velasco, along with the First Church Choral Ensemble.
Well, top of the morning to you on this lovely, or at least hopefully starting to clear St. Patrick's Day. This week I really am Peter Bonos, member of the Standing Committee of First Church Boston, and it's good to see you, those of you who are here in person, and to be seen by those of you who aren't. Welcome all of you to First Church. And I'm supposed to welcome you to our marvelous building, but we never give the address. We're 66 Marlborough Street in Boston's Back Bay. We always used to say that in our initial welcome. A special welcome to those of you who are here for the first time, sightseeing, moving to town, or longtime Bostonians who never quite made it to this place. If you'd like to know more about this church community or Unitarian Universalism in general, you can, of course, visit our website, www.firstchurchboston, written as one word, .org. But if you're here in person, or even within walking distance, you can stick around or walk on over after church around 10, 12 o'clock. We have a very nice coffee hour right outside in what we call the narthex. You can get to know those of us who are members, our senior minister, the Reverend Dr. Stephanie May. You can ask any questions you like. present any complaints about the service. That's all. You know, we're into that sort of thing. Meanwhile, we have some announcements. It's going to be Easter in a few couple of weeks, so we have a number of activities lined up. A sunrise gathering at the Charles, an egg hunt. I've seen the eggs. I happened to notice a bag of them in Reverend Stephanie's office. We have a part 2 of UU Basics and Beyond. If coffee hour conversation doesn't satisfy your curiosity, stick around an hour longer. Stephanie will be speaking in the auditorium. This is part 2 of a series, but if you missed the first one, you can still come. Anything else you need to know? Next week, we'll be welcoming the Reverend Mary Margaret Earl, the director of the UUUM, the Unitarian Universalist Urban Ministry, which is a fine institution. And our offering this morning will be to benefit the urban ministry. Offering, what? Oh, the offering is next week. Oh, it says this.
When Mary Margaret is healed, the offering goes to urban ministry.
I see. It says the offertory this morning because the blurb was written from the point of view of next morning. Sorry about that. It does say this morning. There will be an adult learning opportunity coming in April. We used to have a 6-week speaker series every fall and every spring on Wednesday evenings, and we're continuing the tradition, or reviving the tradition. There was a Wednesday evening thing, but that's not what this is.
Author on Emerson is coming April 2nd.
It's an author on Emerson. Ah, yes, that's what that is. Thank you all for bearing with me. And there will be a visit by Jason Lydon, UU minister, who will be giving the Men's lectures this year. So that will be in April also. And I think that's all I have to say. I'd better quit while I'm sort of ahead. One more time, it's welcome. Thank you all for being here, whether in body or online. And let our service begin.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, and welcome to almost spring. In this season of new and returning life, may we recommit ourselves to our own flourishing, to the preciousness of our one life and our particular way of being ourself. And may we also recommit ourselves to fostering a world that makes space for the differences among us, for those who are right-handed, left-handed, and one-handed, for those who are tall and short, full-bodied or lean, for those who are cisgender, transgender, queer, or questioning, and for those who are neurodivergent, neurotypical, or not sure what either means. Gathering now in our diversity and differences, may we value both the wonder of our authentic self and the gift of being connected to others and community. So may we enter this time together, seeking renewal of life for all of us and for each one of us. I now invite you to rise in body or in spirit for our chalice lighting symbol of Unitarian Universalism and the affirmation printed in your order of service. Love is the spirit. Law. This is our great covenant. Live together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. There we go, last minute. Okay, now please take a moment to greet one another and wave at the camera to our friends online. Remaining standing as you wish. Our opening hymn is a round. Our theme today is, our monthly theme is equity, and today we're sort of celebrating the individual gifts of who we are, even as we're in community. So come, come, whoever you are, number 188 in your gray hymnal.
You know your parts, you chose them last week, I'm not gonna go over that again. And if you don't know your part, pick a number. We're gonna sing this all the way through once, so that we all get a good chance to learn it, and I'm sure you know it. It's a popular one, but just in case. So I will play, and then you'll sing it through. Everyone.
Please be seated. I know rounds can be tricky, and thank you for trying them. What I love is that they sort of bathe us in sound that we create together. So thank you for singing that great song. And there's no wrong time to sing. Just grab whatever you got. And if you don't know that particular song is based on a text from Rufi, who was a Sufi Muslim. And our story today is going to be about Ramadan. And in doing this, I wanted to just hold up the fact that as Unitarian Universalists, today we celebrate religious pluralism and recognize that there are many different ways that people find meaning and spirituality and religious practice and community. And March is jam-packed this year with religious pluralism. Ramadan started with the new moon on Monday. On March 21st, which is the equinox, so I want to point out, Ramadan started on Monday because of the new moon, which is one way of measuring time. And then March 21st is the spring equinox, which is measuring time by the sun's movement. And you might just know it as the first day of spring. But it also has taken on, a lot of religious and spiritual significance for a lot of traditions. It will be celebrated as Nowruz, which is a popular Persian and Baha'i holiday. It means new day. The roots are in Zoroastrianism. It's also Astra, which is how Wiccan and pagan tradition celebrates the spring equinox, the arrival of spring. And March 25th is holy, Huge holiday in Hinduism, full of colors. When you see those pictures of tossing powdered colors, that's holy. Celebration of joy and love. And then, of course, the Christian Holy Week, Palm Sunday, Good Friday, and Easter, which we will honor as part of our tradition, as with our roots in Christianity. But today, I wanted to take a moment this month to talk about Ramadan. And if you want to learn about Ramadan, before I forget to tell you, there are fabulous one-page handouts on the table in the narthex that you can learn more about Ramadan than just the kid version. But the kid version's pretty fun. So this is the gift of Ramadan. A rainbow of color winked at Sophie as she handed the Ramadan lights to her mama. These were her favorite decorations because they made her feel as though a special guest was coming. Grandma raised an eyebrow. Pretty, she smiled. Pretty and sparkly, just like the heart of a person who fasts. Sophia stopped twirling. Really? She asked. Sophia loved sparkles, glitter, stars, her new ring. It was a gift from Grandma from her birthday last month. Grandma stopped rocking. Really? Sophia knew that fasting was not to eat or drink from sunup to sundown. Sophia loved food, but she also loved sparkles. She turned to her mama. When does Ramadan begin? Mama opened the curtain. Adam, Sophia's little brother, pointed to the sky. Moon, he said. That's right, Mama answered. See how thin it is. Sophia nodded. That's the crescent moon, the beginning of a new month. Tomorrow is the first day of fasting. Count me in, Sophia grinned. Mama woke Sophia when it was so early, not even the sun was awake. Time for suhoor, she sang. Sophia sat down to a breakfast of eggs, fruit, and Dad's pancakes, but Sophia could barely keep her eyes open. You have to eat, Grandma said. You will chase away the hungries. So she reached for a pancake, but a few minutes later, sound asleep. Time's up, Dad said. They got up from the table and unrolled the prayer rugs one by one. Sophia tried her best to stay awake, but the moment her head touched the ground, sleep came over her. Mama reached forward to nudge her, but Grandma waved her finger and said, let her sleep. When Sophia woke for the second time, it was almost noon. Her tummy was empty and her throat was dry. But even drinking water was against the rules. So Sophia decided to try and stay busy. She read for a while. She organized the clothes in her closet, from least to most sparkly. And then she drew. But her tummy began to gurgle louder and louder. Shh, Sophia said, I'm drawing. She glanced down at her paper. Yikes, I have got to get out of here. All of the pictures are of food. Sophia found her brother Adam in front of the TV. His hand was waving a humongous cookie. He waved it in front of her face and sang, me cookie eat, yummy, yummy, yum. Sophia's tummy roared. The cookie looked delicious. Please stop, she said, but Adam kept singing. Sophia clenched her hands. She bit her lip. She wanted to yell. Instead, she ran out of the room. Her brother chased her. Adam was fast, but Sophia was faster. Sophia was so fast, she ran out of breath. She needed to hide. Adam was still looking for her. Sophia turned on the light. Oh no, she thought. I've really got to get out of here. But she couldn't. Adam was stomping by, but singing that song, me cookie eat, yummy, yum, yum. And she's locked in the pantry with all the food. She plugged her ears, she closed her eyes. Sophia took a deep breath, and the scent of chocolate chip cookies filled her nose. So there she is, eating all of the cookies. Her grandma says, what is this? Sophia's eyes drifted to the floor. I got too hungry. There, my love. No one expects you as a child to fast for an entire day. Grandma wrapped Sophia in a big hug. There's always tomorrow and the day after and the next. You have a full month to keep trying. Sophia twisted her ring. She wiped away her tears. But I wanted to feel sparkly now, she said. You are sparkly, Grandma said. I can see your sparkles growing. Sophia shrugged. She didn't feel sparkly. And did you know, continued Grandma, there are other ways to celebrate Ramadan too. Sophia thought about that. She knew Mama read the Quran. Maybe it gave her head sparkles, but Sophia couldn't read it, not on her own. And her dad was always sharing things with family, friends, and strangers. He said that Ramadan was a time for charity, a special kind of sharing, for those who need extra help. But Sophia didn't have any money. Sophia was about to give up when she glanced down at Grandma's hands. They were covered in flour. "What are you making?" she asked. "Yummy food for our first iftar," Grandma replied. "That's it," Sophia said. If she couldn't fast, then at least she could prepare dinner for those who did. "I'm going to help," she said. So she put on her apron and got to work, making 5 super sparkly pizzas. While the oven buzzed, Sophia jumped up from her chair. The pizzas were done, but when Grandma opened the oven, smoke billowed out. Oh no, 2 of the pizzas were burned. Grandma plopped down. She looked exhausted. Iftar was just around the corner. "Don't worry, Grandma," she said. "I've got this." Sophia set the table. She gave each person 1 big bowl of soup and 1 salad. She placed a pitcher of water and a bowl of dates on the table. Then she asked Grandma to cut up the 3 perfect pizzas. Tiny slices were better than none. Sophia's family gathered around the table. They raised their hands and offered thanks. They each drank water and ate a date, which is the traditional way of breaking the fast in the iftar. When there was only 1 slice of pizza left, Grandma insisted that Sophia take it. "You earned it." "No thanks," Sophia smiled. She didn't want any more. She didn't need any more. Her heart was wonderfully full. So hopefully that gives you I like that story. It's sort of a fun way of showing a family engaging in the practice of Ramadan and this idea of mercy towards the practice of learning to fast. And I think that fits our theme today of becoming oneself, and that sometimes our spiritual growth is just that. It takes practice. It can take time, just like Sophie was learning how to practice Ramadan. And now, our choir. Our prayer today, it was written by UU minister Richard Gilbert, and I just liked it. I thought I'd share it with you. So I invite you to take a deep breath in and out, and another in and out. In the midst of the whirling day, in the hectic rush to be doing, in the frantic pace of life, pause here for a moment. Catch your breath, relax your body, loosen your grip on life. Consider that our lives are always unfinished business. Imagine that the picture of our being is never complete. Allow your life to be a work in progress. Do not hurry to mold the masterpiece. Do not rush to finish the picture. Do not be impatient to complete the drawing. From beckoning birth to dawning death, we are in process, and always there is more to be done. So do not let the incompleteness weigh on your spirit. Do not despair that imperfection marks your every day. Do not fear that we are still in the making. Let us instead be grateful that the world is still to be created. Let us give thanks that we can be more than we are. Let us celebrate the power of the incomplete, for life is always unfinished. I invite you now to rest in a moment of stillness.
Our reading this morning is by May Sarton, and it's entitled, Now I Become Myself. Now I become myself. It's taken time, many years and places. I have been dissolved and shaken, worn other people's faces, run madly, as if time were there, terribly old, crying a warning, hurry. You will be dead before, what? Before you reach the morning? or the end of the poem is clear, or love safe in the walled city. Now to stand still, to be here, feel my own weight and density. The black shadow on the page is my hand, the shadow of a word, as thought shapes the shaper, falls heavy on the page, is heard. All fuses now, falls into place, from wish to action, word to silence. My work, my love, my time, my face, gathered into one intense gesture of growing like a plant, as slowly as the ripening fruit, fertile, detached, and always spent, falls but does not exhaust the root. So all the poem is, can give, grows in me to become the song, made so and rooted by love. Now there is time, and time is young. Oh, in this single hour I live all of myself and do not move. I, the pursued, who madly ran, stand still, and stop the sun.
Okay. So who are you? From dating profiles to social media postings to write-ups for an alumni book at a school reunion, we are answering the question, who are you? But answering is often not as simple as it sounds. For example, imagine you need to fill out an online dating profile. Yes, I know some of you are happily partnered, and others of you may well just not be interested in dating for any number of reasons. But this is an imaginary dating profile. And to help us, I indeed went online and created a profile temporarily. I am happily partnered. I deleted it already. But I created an account on Bumble, one of the largest online dating tools. And what I learned is the first question you would face would simply be name. What would you like to be called? Well, it seems simple. But what if the name you use is not your legal name, as is the case for some transgender folks, or for some people with a complicated history of divorce or with their family of origin? Just a name can hold enormous weight of identity and personal history. The next question, when's your birthday? Lying about one's age is rampant on online dating. Why is that? Why is it better to be younger? Is older always a liability? How honestly do we present our age? Third question, what's your gender? Significantly, the form asks for gender, not sex, a distinction between physical characteristics and social identity that has become more widely understood and accepted. And after selecting man, woman, or non-binary, a submenu with extensive options that range from cis man to trans feminine to intersex arises, reflecting the fullness, the range of how people express their gender identities. But then you also have the further option of whether to even show or hide your gender in your public profile. How would you answer? What would you or would you not disclose? Or when? Or to whom? Next up, post some photos. The first photo you post will be the one thing many people will use to decide if they want to learn more about you. Yes, before even reading anything more. So which photo best conveys you? What would you be doing in the photo? Where would you be? What kind of mood or outlook would you suggest? Lighthearted, hardworking, intellectual, intense, fun? What do you want to look like? Finally, after adding your location, you will have a live account on Bumble, and you can start looking and people can start looking at you. However, you are encouraged to further edit your profile by adding all kind of information from an open-ended About Me box to a My Work and Education section. And in a My Basics list, you can answer all matter of questions, including height, amount of times you exercise, maybe another place for some lying, cannabis use, because it's Massachusetts and 2021, or, gosh, I'm still stuck in pandemic time. Kids, religion. I'll add that religion doesn't include Unitarian Universalism, but there is an other, and more. The possibilities to describe yourself are multiple and endlessly editable. Who are you? How do you choose to answer? Does your name, gender, height, or religion define you? Does your work, education, family? What photos best convey who you are? Are there elements of yourself you keep hidden by choice or because you feel you must? Is who you know yourself to be the same as whom you present to others? The quest of knowing oneself is ancient. Know thyself is carved into the ruins of the ancient temple at Delphi in Greece. These two simple words send us on an inner journey. We probe our motivations, values, and talents, as well as our blind spots and weaknesses. We survey our thoughts, we examine our emotions, we question our actions or inactions. To know thyself is to seek awareness of the particular person we are. And yet, as poet John Donne once wrote, we also know that no man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of a continent, a part of the main. Every self is part of a society, and who we are is always in relationship to others. These social relationships can make it so confusing to know who we are. Again and again, messages from others may tell us we are not who we believe ourselves to be. People of color told they don't belong in a certain neighborhood, school, or job. Women told they cannot be lawyers or poets or carpenters. Men told they cannot be stay-at-home parents or emotionally vulnerable or weak. A teen crushing on another of the same gender told their desire is wrong. A child assigned the sex of boy told they cannot wear a dress or call themselves a girl. In multiple ways, social systems send messages of how to be and which people or characteristics are more desirable and valuable. To navigate such social systems, sometimes people have hidden parts of themselves. Some light-skinned African Americans sought to pass as white in a society that privileges whiteness. Some women cut their hair and wore men's clothes to become soldiers. And some people with same-sex desire entered heterosexual marriages while keeping their desires and or experiences of same-sex intimacy in the proverbial closet. Passing as normal is one way to avoid social penalties for being different. And even though advances in civil rights may mean fewer people feel the same kinds of pressure to pass in such ways, legal scholar Kenji Yoshino argues there are still many ways people are pressured to cover. To cover, explains Yoshino, is to tone down a disfavored identity. For example, you might be a gay man who is out at work, but who shows up buttoned up in Brooks Brothers without his earrings and minimizing other behaviors that might be seen as too queer. The pressure to cover emerges from a message that says, we know you are different and it's okay, but please don't flaunt it. I suspect we've all had messages from the wider society, or perhaps from families, teachers, or religious leaders, suggesting that we hide, cover, or tone down parts of who we are, calls to diminish our fullness of who we know ourselves to be, or feel that we could be. And yet still other voices and authors have called out to resist those expectations of others. For example, Ralph Waldo Emerson declares, "To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment." Pursuing a path of authenticity against social expectation may be rewarding, but it's not always easy. In her poem, Now I Become Myself, May Sarton chronicles resisting expectations, writing, "Now I become myself. It's taken time, many years and places. I have been dissolved and shaken, worn other people's faces." Then, in becoming oneself, she finds a stillness as she becomes aware of who she is. Now, to stand still, to be here, feel my own weight and density. The black shadow on the paper is my hand. How often do you pause to be still and notice yourself here, now, as you are? To know thyself, to know who you are, to know that you are alive, solid, still, in this moment, in this place. In our religious tradition, as Unitarian Universalists, we dedicate babies with a blessing. Celebrating the precious gift of each life, we hand a rose to the family as a symbol of the uniqueness of a child that will unfold from bud to bloom. At the same time, it's a ceremony that celebrates the relationship between child and their family, as well as between the parent or parents and larger communities of family, friends, and congregation. By celebrating the gift of an individual child and our connections to one another, a child dedication reflects an important truth that we become ourselves only in community. We become ourselves only in community. Living as interconnected individuals, each of us must navigate between the inner impulses of our own being and the interactions we have with others. If we only value our authenticity of individual self, we risk harming our relationships with others. Or more bluntly, to only care about yourself and your own needs can make you a bit of a jerk that others don't really want to be around. Not to mention that a collection of people focused on one's own self-interest doesn't exactly build a community of shared purpose. And yet, on the other hand, if we only value the cohesion of a group, then we risk creating social pressures to cover our differences or to pass ourselves off as just like everyone else. But such efforts to pass and cover diminish the fullness of who we are as individual persons and as a wondrous diversity of people. What we need, then, is a way to be communities that embrace difference. What would it look like to build communities in which people can more fully be their authentic selves while also being committed to relationships of mutual love and respect? That is a big question, and in part, I think the answer may lie in left-handed scissors. Stay with me. In her book, Divergent Mind, Thriving in a World That Wasn't Designed for You, neurodivergent author Janera Nuremberg explores the way society presumes a certain kind of typical brain and patterns of thought. She argues for a society that is friendlier to neurodivergent brains, such as folks with ADHD, autism, synesthesia, high sensitivity, and sensory processing disorder. Citing Joel Salinas, a Harvard neurologist with synesthesia, that's a lot of S's. She suggests creating spaces and tools for folks that have a range of sensory needs. For example, just as airports have designated smoking areas, why not also rooms with reduced sensory stimulation? Continuing, Nuremberg writes, Salinas reminds me of the example of left-handed scissors, which have met a wide need and don't impose a burden on the right-handed people of the world. Salinas is keen on collaboration and reminding ourselves that we all share this world and we can work out what everybody needs while trying to minimize the burden to others. Building communities that meet multiple diverse needs is possible and can help more people to fully flourish. I look out, and I've been here, 8 months now, I think, and getting to know many of you, and some of you I've met for the first time today. And I know we are not all alike, not in body or brain, not in personal history or aspiration. We differ in who we are, in the boxes we check on a form, as well as in the answers we give to who are you. So also, I suspect we have all struggled in various ways to meet the expectations of others, sometimes trying to pass as something we're not, or to cover, minimize, or mask the ways we are different. And I suspect that we have all longed for an inclusive message of love and grace that tells us we are loved and cherished as we are, even if we don't feel normal or right, even if we have indeed screwed up, causing harm to ourselves or others. My own UU faith tells me that each of us has inherent dignity and worthiness, that each of us is our own unique rose of beauty, even though none of us is perfect, and we are all still budding and transforming. Each of us only becomes ourselves in community. To ask, how do I become myself, is to also ask how to be together in ways that enable each of us to flourish. My hope is that we collaborate to build inclusive, equitable communities that affirm our full, authentic selves and the joy of enabling others to flourish as well. May it be so. Amen. And our offering will be, I'm just going to jump to the music part because it's the musical rendition of the poem, which I'm really excited to hear. And thanks to Gigi for first bringing this poem to my attention. And of course, as you, I don't know if you followed the discussion Peter and I had at the top of the hour, today's offering is to support this diverse community and the work of what we are trying to do and spreading a message of love and inclusivity and equity. So as you're able, please give to this community, even if it's just a little, just to know that you too have been part. Thank you. As I mentioned in my sermon, and I didn't actually ask anybody here if this has been the tradition here at First Church, but in my experience with other UU congregations, we've always given a rose at child dedications as the symbol of becoming from bud to transformation. And I knew I wanted to do a moment of affirmation, some kind of ritual between following the sermon and the song. And I thought about, what do I do? How do I convey in a moment the message of the sermon? And in the Lutheran and some of the other traditions, there's a ritual of remembering your baptism and the sense in what you are rooted in from the time you are a child or become a part of the community of faith. And so I thought we'd do a version of that, and remembering your dedication, whether you were dedicated as Unitarian Universalists or not. Today, I declare you all babies, and with love. And this is the message I've traditionally given at a child dedication. And I give this to the child, not to the parents. I give you this flower, unique in its beauty among all other flowers of creation, to express symbolically our hope that all your life long you will unfold and blossom just as you must, in all of your own unique beauty. Our hope as a community, a commitment together, that all your life long you will unfold and blossom just as you must in all of your own unique beauty. So I have a rose for all of you, and I invite you to rise in body or in spirit for our closing hymn, 1053, and as you sing, I will give you a rose. So please, rise in body or in spirit. Choir, I didn't get to you, but we have more flowers, please. Please join me in extinguishing the chalice. Words are in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. As part of one diverse, interconnected world, may we love with abundance, welcome across difference, and work together to support a just, equitable, and sustainable life for all. Amen.
Please feel free to join us live each Sunday at 66 Marlborough Street at the corner of Berkeley Street in Back Bay. If you would like more information about programs, services, or membership at First Church, please visit the website www.firstchurchboston.org or send an email to office@firstchurchboston.org. Thank you.